warm welcome to this evening's episode. My name is William Evans, and this is the Purpose Rwanda television show. This week we've been celebrating a mental health week and month. We've been having several conversations around mental health, and tonight we are going to be having a conversation about the effects of social media. And with me to discuss this in studio is Dr. Asmiret. Am I pronouncing the name very well?
Yes.
Yes, Asmiret is, I understand you're coming from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
But
true.
you're working with RBC and Shehashka, right?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So you could introduce yourself to our audience. Let them know what you do at RBC.
Okay. Thank you for having me, William. So I'm originally from Ethiopia. I'm a psychiatrist by profession. And I work at Shehashka as a clinician and also teaching postgraduate students. And at RBC, I'm an advisor for substance addiction programs.
Wow. Well, most welcome, Dr. Asmiret, on the show. We've been, October is a month of mental health, and we've been celebrating. There are several issues and there are several events that are happening. Today, we want to look at the effects of mental health, but specifically looking at young people. What does that ring into your mind?
Yeah. So when we talk about social media, I think first it's important to see what is the purpose of in terms of positive light, because as any human being, what we want is connection, sense of validation, peer support, and sense of belongingness. And social media brings that to the platform, and people have been using the platform to get those things. And of course, social media is part of our life. It has been and it will continue to be. So for me, what I see is how we use social media, in what context, and who use it. So the mere presence of social media will not predispose any person or any young person into mental health conditions, but the context of using, how we use it, and to what extent we use it is going to be a
maybe
question.
to get in context, we're looking at 4.25 million internet users in Rwanda.
Yeah.
I want us to discuss this, looking at this number, 4.25 million internet users in Rwanda by January 2023.
Yeah.
That is a big number.
Yeah.
What are the likely causes or chances that these 4.25 million young people probably are going to encounter mental health issues via social media, cyberbullying, social media bullying, those things?
Yeah. So like I said, it's how we use social media rather than the sole presence of social media. So if you're using the social media as your only source of support, as your only source of validation, as you are using it if you are comparing yourself like body image, right? If you are considering your lifestyle to be as a standard way of living, and you feel like you need a validation that you're leading the same or standard way of life, the accepted way of life, that will be a problem, because you're putting yourself out there for validation. And as we know, the internet can be harsh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I guess.
Yes.
So the time is us, but you see, we've all now come to be known as I think we are called digital natives.
Yeah.
Where you find that everyone in a way is connected to internet. Like some are doing business, others it's just like you said, they want to identify.
Yeah.
I want us to talk about what are some of the common mental health issues or probably disorders that could be influenced by so much, or let's say dependence on social media? Yeah.
So when you have a vulnerable group of people,
by vulnerable you mean
when you
what
say
group?
vulnerable, so we're talking about people who are already predisposed in terms of depression, anxiety, trauma, and also substance addiction, and also other non-pathological defined illnesses, but a sense of low self-esteem, identity issues, all of those. And of course, the young population, you see, because below 21, your identity is not well formed. Your values are still very flexible. So you are easily influenced by peer groups, by the internet, and all of those. So when you match this with, when you mix this group of people which are vulnerable to contents that are toxic, that means that makes you think that you're not on the right path, that makes you feel like you're not good enough, right? That makes you feel like if the people on the platform did not validate you, that means you're wrong, then it's the mix that poses a lot of risks. So you can have worsening of depression, you can have anxiety, you can have body issues like figures, and you can also have low self-esteem. So it's not only how you use it, but also what kind of people are using it in what kind of context, because you can still use social media to gain validation, to gain peer support, to gain sense of belongingness. But if you are using it in the context of the only support and in a, let's say, in a very unhealthy way, the effects can be very, very negative.
Okay. So now, given you said that by is it 2021, the age, the number?
Yeah. So until you are 21, your brain growth has not finished.
And statistics are showing that most of the internet users, most of the people that are so much like obsessed with social media are young people between 18 and about, I think, 35, 40, around there. So this is a big issue. Is this happening? You know, I understand that social media and its addiction and its use and the internet is a global issue. Everywhere, everyone is fighting to have a smartphone. Everyone is fighting. You know, is this cutting across? You said you're coming from Ethiopia. Is this a common issue with young people in Ethiopia?
Yeah, it's everywhere in the world, basically, because of the modernization and also the change that we are seeing in terms of culture, lifestyle. We are forced to connect in a different way.
Okay, so Doctor, you mentioned that that for some of these people, the vulnerable, the people that you are identified as vulnerable people or that belong to a group that is vulnerable, are people that are already dealing with things, so they get negatively influenced or affected by social media. But in your opinion and from where you sit, do you think there are rather positive effects of social media for mental health? Let's say to create awareness and all these other things.
If you're able to create a safe space, like where people can be supported and validated, right? Not be ashamed or stigmatized, that's a very positive environment. And also awareness creation, because social media is very powerful. Peer is very powerful. We get influenced by each other, right? So if you're able to create that kind of platform, that's very powerful. But if the platform does not provide that kind of support, validation, and acceptance, that's going to be the reverse, the flip side, which is going to be stigma, rejection, and a sense of that you're not good enough.
So Doctor, for the people that already are struggling, they probably found themselves addicted, trying to get approved by social media or on social media, and the conversation is they are debate, like they can't live without social media. I was reading, I think in a report in the US where teenagers were reportedly saying that they can't live without social media. They can't live without social media. But like you said, it's very powerful, and it is a big crisis among young people now. What are some of the strategies that some people should use? What are some of the strategies that these young people can actually apply at an individual level or even an organization to foster
and to use it in a better way, right? So, as an individual level, it's understanding that what we see on social media and on internet are not, we have to be aware that's the ideal version which most people want to share, right? So because that is one of the key factors that is driving the negativity of social media, because you feel like everybody's having a great time, everybody's having a great life, and it's just you struggling. So that creates sense of loneliness, sense of failure. So we have to be aware, naturally people share the good moments, right? It's very unlikely to share struggles because you don't know how people will take it, you don't know if they're going to validate you, you don't know if they're going to support you, or you're going to be blamed for it. So that's one. And the second thing is having other social support system. So you have to have friends, physical friends, connection.
Physical friends.
Yes, exactly. Friends which you can meet up, right? Because when you have only friends from Facebook or from social media, you feel like you're connected, but you are really disconnected. Okay, so that's why we're having these conversations, like sitting, having coffee, having eye contact. All of those are very powerful. That's why it's very important to have physical connection, communication, and support system, because that cannot be replaced with online. And the third one is knowing when to disconnect. Okay, so sometimes, sometimes it's going to be very overwhelming to do all of those. So when you feel like you can't cope up, you have to disconnect. So that disconnection, we're going to talk about detoxing, right? Digital detoxing. So that's what we're talking about. So you disconnect so that you can kind of connect to yourself, because whenever you are over-connected to others, you lose the connection with yourself and you don't know what you need at that time, right?
Yes.
So you need your self-connection so that you can guide yourself.
You actually disconnect to connect.
Yes, exactly.
Interesting. Now, you see, with the trends and everything that is happening, people want to live cool lives. People struggle to understand that actually what is put on social media is just an aspect. It's an aspect. It's what someone chooses to put you, and then you get what they've given you. Let's say I post myself in a suit, and I'm hanging out somewhere having coffee. That is not what I do every day.
Yes.
I don't wake up in a suit.
Yes.
I don't have coffee every morning.
Yes.
There are days that I'm broke and I can't afford coffee. Just an example. Yeah. But I'll not post that. Yeah. So the people that look at these things and judge themselves, try to compare themselves to that. Yeah. What specific advice would you give to someone that wakes up every morning to feed themselves with the wrong idea of who they are, depending on their social media platforms and their social circles and all these networks? I want you to talk to these people straight. You will look in the camera straight and give them advice.
Yeah. So basically...
Yeah, you will look in the camera. And
so that's basically all of us to a certain extent. So it's a spectrum, right?
Yes.
How we need validation and how we need that sense of comfort that we're okay.
Yes.
But I think one of the first things is especially knowing that nobody's perfect and everybody struggles to a various degree. Okay? So that is for everybody. So this reminds me, there was a time where people started posting houses that were not clean, kids were crying, because the way social media was going was very much threatening, like you said, just posting perfect pictures. And moms and parents, they started posting messy houses and saying that this is my house when I wake up. It's not as I used to post it, very clean, perfect, with a smiling baby. No. They used to post when their babies were crying. And
their real life.
Yes, their real life, exactly. And it was a lot of, they were getting a lot of authenticity and a true connection, because everybody started saying, yeah, me too. It's not my life, yeah?
Doctor, maybe the question to ask here is,
Yeah.
what is the actual intention of joining these social platforms?
Yes.
Because not everyone, I don't think most of the people have joined to share their real life. I think that is where the problem begins from, because no one is on most of these social media platforms to post their real life.
Yeah, but the point is, how do you gauge whatever you do, whether you're sitting with a friend and having a conversation, how do you get that kind of validation and connection and being accepted? So what drives behind every action are the three elements, basically. So whenever you post something perfect, so what you're expecting is a validation, right? Whenever
Yes.
somebody likes your post or shares it, you feel like I'm on the right track.
Well,
I'm okay.
Maybe if we are going to talk about briefly about the idea or the concept of social detox. But before we do that, because we talked about what you choose to do, let me just read some of the statistics here for social media business. Here I have figures of 26.8 of internet users aged between 16 to 64 discover brands, products and services via ads on social media. 44% of internet users aged 16 to 64 use social media as a primary source of information when they are researching brands. In other words, you just choose what to do. One beautiful lady will wake up and choose to advertise their business. Probably they're into makeup. They're doing makeup, and then they advertise their business on social media. And then another one is going to wake up and post their beautiful photos, of course, with a lot of Photoshop, a lot of trying to create a certain image that is not real. So it goes back to what you want to put out here. Social media is actually, well, it is a big issue now. It is causing issues now, but you could also use social media to promote your business, to actually do business. There are very many people that are influencers here,
Yes.
even when you don't understand so much about what they influence. But let's talk about digital detox.
Yeah.
Digital detox. Is this possible? If yes, how?
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, so to get less, to get more benefit from the connection that you have on social media and to avoid those that are negative. So the first one is knowing that nobody's having a perfect life, and whatever you see in social media, you have to be aware that it can be filtered, captured, just what you were saying. It's a snapshot,
Yep.
right? So one is avoiding comparison, your life with those posts, and knowing that your journey is different because everybody's in life's journey is different. One is that. And the second one is knowing to disconnect so that you can connect with yourself. The third one is especially morning hours are very powerful. So it's not advised to continuously be on social media, especially morning hours, because morning hour is where you set your emotions and your thoughts for the day. So it's better not to immediately look at your phone and scroll.
Guilty as charged. I think when you talk about that, a number of us are very guilty. A number of us are very guilty.
It's for everybody's.
I know someone that looks at their phone before they even wake up. Completely, they are not completely awake, but the hand is reaching out for the phone.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
So it's better to give some time, at least looking into nature, trying to be present with yourself, because that's the morning time where you put positive emotion, positive energy to yourself for the whole of the day. And the other aspect is detoxing, of course, so that you can be mindful about your purpose in life, what you're doing, how you're feeling, because sometimes it's really hard to listen to yourself. There's a lot of voice outside.
Yeah.
All right, so you don't know if you're doing the right thing or if you're on the right path, because there's a lot of comments, there's a lot of suggestions, there's a lot of way of doing things, right? So it's very important to listen to yourself. And as I said, physical connection with person, with the family is very important, so that you wouldn't end up looking for that validation, looking for that connection only on the internet, only on the social media.
Okay, so someone is listening or and watching in, and they are struggling.
Yeah.
They're struggling, whether they know it or whether they don't. The first thing they want to do in the morning is check their Instagram, check their X. I think we are still getting used to X. So they want to X someone early morning as they wake up. What should these people do? Like, or probably, I don't know if you there are things you also do that you can share so that they can try to break, because social media is also an addiction.
Yes.
You know, besides being one of the causes or one of the influences of mental health issues, you know, including disorders, very terrible things. So what should these people do? What's their to-do list? What should someone try to do so that they can try to detox?
Yes. So the first thing is taking time away from your phone, so that you can have a sense how you're feeling, right? So if you put your phone perhaps somewhere where you cannot access it, and try to take time to think and to be yourself, that can be the first step.
The first step,
And the second is try to actually listen to your thoughts and emotions. What happens when you're not with a phone? Okay, so sometimes we use it as a distraction also, because there are some bothering thoughts and we have some sort of negative emotions that we have difficulty in dealing with. So it's very important to capture those so that you can deal with it in the right way instead of distracting yourself continuously. Right?
Maybe before we come to the end of the show, I want you to discuss something just slightly about bullying through social media and its influence to mental health, because this is happening almost every day. I'm a very daily customer to Twitter, to X, and at least every week there is someone that they are bullying. Probably, it's just a roast game. It's a roast game over social media. I think just this week in Rwanda, I don't know if you've seen the training videos where someone that is not like very much gifted in terms of height was marrying a very tall girl, and then people are having all these kind of comments, very funny comments, to a point where someone will be like, I'm also soon going to throw my improper fraction wedding. Can you, So some people do these things, and it's a game, it's a roast, and they do not know how much this can affect people's mental health, and well-being. So I want you from a professional point of view, because these are things you've skilled in. Advise people.
So we have to understand being bullied online. It's no difference being bullied physically, because it's emotional abuse. And if you look into people who bully, they have been a victim themselves, because it's the trauma which they have experienced, the anger and shame and lack of power that they try to retake by doing the same thing that has happened to them.
They transfer the same energies.
Yes, that has happened to them in the past. Okay, so it might look funny, or it might look something simple, but what's really happening is people are traumatizing other people because of what has happened to them, and they don't know how to deal with it. Because in trauma, what happens is you lose sense of control and sense of power. And if you don't process that in the right way, you try to capture that by making other people victim. Right? So I think the first thing is to sense when you feel not good in an interaction. If an interaction makes you feel bad about yourself, as if you are lower, and it ends up being stressful, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
And you should talk to somebody or disconnect from the site or report the site. I believe there's ways to report when such things occur.
Yes, they actually, I think there are regulations.
Yes.
But you see, social media is a very tricky aspect.
Difficult
Social
to
media
control,
is
yeah.
very hard to control.
Yes.
Because, for example, it is illegal in Rwanda and in many countries to share nudes and all those things. But people world over leak these videos without, they don't mind who is there. And, they're young people here. But, even if it wasn't about young people, why would you leak, such stuff on social media? So it's very hard. Do you think governments are doing enough, or what should we do? What should people do to, to at least have social media into control? Should we just do away with it? How best can we regulate social media?
Yeah, so I think it starts with individual, because in the beginning of the interview, we said we all are looking for connection, validation, sense of belongingness, and support.
Yes.
So how do we do that in the right way so that it would not pose for ourselves danger? So
Yes.
It's the same concept that we try to get from social media, but how do we do that on the right way so that it can assist in self-growth and also resilience and support? So one way would be is building your resilience so that you wouldn't depend or be a victim for such kind of situations. The second is being aware when things like this occur, and you don't have to tolerate, and it's not okay. So you have to speak up, look for social support, talk to your friends, and because it's not okay because people get threatened with such things as well, right? It becomes a power and control.
Right. I think it is very important that you disconnect to connect.
Yes.
And if you're out there and you are going through all these challenges, or probably you just need someone to talk to, I've always told you that Purpose Rwanda is here for you. We are here to listen to you. We are here to get your complaints. We are here to advise. We are here to stand with you. We want to walk with you this transformational journey as you change, because it is not something that is going to happen today, but when you have an accountability partner, this is very, very much so possible. So we want you to reach out to our socials. We want you to call us. Our numbers are down on the screen. You can talk to us if you're struggling with any form of addiction, social media addiction, is it sex, is it drug abuse, is it substance abuse, and any other form of addiction, so that you disconnect and you can connect with real people, real relationships. And I think it is beautiful that way. Yeah. It is beautiful having conversation. A lot of people have lost this touch. They can't have proper conversations. People can't raise proper families because of social media, because of the internet. So a father is a virtual father, mother is a virtual, and then it's a whole mess. Maybe in your parting shots, what would be your end remarks? What would be your ending remarks on this? And also maybe, I don't know if it is possible to talk on behalf of the people that you work for. What is your commitment to this?
Yeah. So I would say it's very important to be mindful about what you're feeling and what you're thinking, because that is your inner wisdom.
Yes.
And things that interrupt that, things that block that, are the things that will ultimately lead to what we call the pathologies. So it's very important to do self-care, connect with yourself, connect with actual people, because we are human beings, we belong in groups.
Yes.
So it's okay to look into validation, to look into a sense of connection, but we can have it on the right way, so that you wouldn't pose yourself for such things. So it's possible to heal. Yep. And it's possible to do it on the right way.
Okay, your commitment?
I'm here.
You're here for the social interaction.
I'm here.
Well, we want to thank you so very much for honoring our invitation, and we look forward to hosting even more times.
Yeah,
I think it's a beautiful conversation and even a beautiful connection.
Yeah.
So we want to thank you. Our program is ending now because of time, but these conversations can always go on our social media as we connect and interact. But when you have time, pass by our offices. We work just in Remera, behind MTN in Remera. You could pass by our offices so that we have a conversation. Everyone is there. We're having fellowships. You could come and be part of these fellowships as you interact with people that that are on their journey, that are healing. You could also partner with us. We want your name to be in the right books of history as we transform the generation, as we transform the young people, as we contribute, we give our effort to contribute to the purposeful and an addiction-free Rwanda of tomorrow. And these are serious issues. This is not just about me. This is not about an 18-year-old. It is across. Yeah. So before it is too late, you should have your name registered in the right books of history. From me to you, I wish you a very good evening, and may you disconnect to connect. See you next time. Bye-bye.